This is the Blood Red podcast from the Liverpool Echo.
Arsenal 0, Liverpool 3. Trent makes his point in the capital as the top four race is blown wide open. Welcome to the Debrief Live here on the Blood Red channel. I'm Clarke, Kai Delaney alongside me. And, Kai, it's turned out, first and foremost, to be a pretty brilliant day for Liverpool, hasn't it? Chelsea losing earlier on in the day. 2 points now, the gap to the top four. And what a performance against Arsenal.
Yeah, brilliant. It couldn't have gone much better, really. As you say, Chelsea with a shock result at home to West Brom earlier in the day, and the form they were on, unbeaten since Tuchel had taken over. You didn't see anything like that coming. So it really kind of opened the door for Liverpool, and it was just a matter of capitalising and making the most, and they absolutely did. A brilliant performance, really, from start to finish. There's a few kind of question marks at half time. I saw a few tweets and things saying, solid performance, controlling, but a bit toothless. And that was probably fair. There wasn't too many kind of clear-cut opportunities made in the first half, despite the dominance and for all they kind of had of the ball, they didn't have a lot to show for it. But then the second half, Jota coming off the bench was fantastic. Obviously, the impact he made with his 2 goals, and not only the goals, but his performance, what he brought to the side. And it's a shame, to think maybe what could have been if he had been around all season. But it's the perfect time for him to come back with this run-in now, just starting with this match tonight. But yeah, fantastic game all around. I'm sure we'll go through a few of the players kind of one at a time on their performances. But back to 2 points off Chelsea, and it's looking like a really good position now as we approach the final few games of the season.
Yeah, just what you want at this stage of the season, a real race to open up now for Liverpool. Looked as though they might have blown their chance. And just sort of on how the game played out, and I suppose Liverpool's real control and domination. You mentioned sort of first half, it maybe was a bit toothless, and there was that chance for James Milner. It was probably Liverpool's best chance of the game. And in recent weeks, we've seen it so many times that a big chance has gone missing. And then all of a sudden, Liverpool have stopped looking like they're going to be able to open an opponent up and really find a way through. But at start of the second half, Arsenal maybe came out a bit livelier, and you thought, have Liverpool kind of blown their chance? But as soon as Diogo Jota comes on, the game just, again, completely flips around once more. What a player he is, and what an option he is to bring off the bench as well.
Absolutely. I mean, I have to say, I'm really surprised he didn't start. Just get that in there, given his form. 3 goals for Portugal in the international break. Worth pointing out, there were 3 headers, and obviously another header tonight. So it's clearly something that he's been working on. But I guess the argument to start Firmino as well. He's been at Kirby, had a full 2 weeks kind of rest and training, and Jota may be a little bit burnt out after those international games. But yeah, to have that 4th player, on the bench as someone with as much quality as Jota, and you could see the real impact he made as soon as he was on. Really, it wasn't just him. I think his introduction almost put a fire up Salah and Mane as well. And I was really pleased to see Jota coming on, not instead of Firmino, but alongside him, to have the 4. Obviously, went into a 4-2-3-1 with Thiago and Fabinho as the 2 holding midfielders. But I don't know what more we can say about Jota, really. I think that was his 7th Premier League goal this season, and he's missed a big old chunk of it. So perfect time for him to come back. And going into Real Madrid on Tuesday, I think he starts that without doubt. I think it's just a question of whether it's him in place of Firmino or as the 4. But yeah, a real kind of ace card for Klopp to be able to play now. And with a few games left of the season, he could be the real difference maker.
Yeah, definitely. Keep sharing your opinions with us in the comments section here with us live on YouTube, and just kind of looking at it all and thinking about Jurgen Klopp's mindset and everything in bringing Jota on and taking off Andy Robertson. I suppose with the way Fabinho was playing in that game, he could take that risk because he had that midfield on complete lockdown. He was controlling absolutely everything and intercepting things. I think doing quite a few things that probably go unnoticed, little interceptions that just meant Arsenal couldn't get out at all and really give that domination to Liverpool. And we've spoken for a few weeks now about maybe how Liverpool will be focusing on this Real Madrid game and the Champions League run. But 60 minutes on the clock. Klopp takes off a fullback. He throws on another forward. I think he is, after that result today at Stamford Bridge, really eyeing a chance of getting in the top four, isn't he?
I think this is the weekend where it's changed. There's weeks gone by where, myself included, but many Liverpool fans have kind of admitted defeat almost in the race for the top four, not only because of Liverpool's poor form of late, but more than anything, how strong Chelsea have been, and Leicester had been 10 points above us going into tonight. It looked a real mountain to climb, and one that was probably not going to be able for us to achieve. But the results this weekend, now just 2 points behind Chelsea and even 7 behind Leicester, you got to say that if they draw or could lose 1 or 2, then we'll be right in the hunt for possibly even third, which is crazy to think, given where we were 2 or 3 weeks ago. But yeah, with Fabinho, he does go unnoticed. Luckily, I mean, he was still given man of the match tonight, despite the heroics of the forward line in the second half. But yeah, it's a debate for another time, really. Whether, I'm not sure what we've missed more: Jota being out for quite a chunk of the season, or the fact that Fabinho's had to play in defence. You can see just how important he is when he does play in his favoured number 6 position, and the impact he has on the game, and what he allows all the players in front of him to do. So having Fabinho back in his favoured position, having Jota back into the mix and back fit as an option, starting or off the bench, Liverpool are in a really good place.
Absolutely. One player we've not touched on really yet is Trent Alexander-Arnold. That cross for the goal that opens the game up, really, after taking the lead. Arsenal fell apart, and Liverpool really did just put their foot down on the accelerator and really go for it. But that cross was Trent of old, wasn't it? First time, the pace, the dip, the swerve, it was right onto Diogo Jota's head and couldn't have been placed any better. And I suppose couldn't be timed any better, having just missed out on the latest England squad.
Well, if you get off Southgate, you're sitting back thinking, there we go, my plan's worked, and he's back to his best. But no, it was certainly a controversial decision, I think, certainly amongst Liverpool fans. And, Klopp voiced his opinion fairly strongly, I'd say, in the pre-match press conference before this game about the decision to leave Trent out of the England squad. Klopp said he respected the decision, but he didn't understand it. I think, Gary Lineker was vocal on Twitter backing Klopp there. I think it was a very strange decision, and if it is just a little bit of a maybe kick up the backside, then it appears to have worked. I'm sure Trent will have been putting that extra 5 or 10% in at Kirby throughout the week just to try and nail that place back. And for me, that there's no question that he's England's best right back, let alone is named in the squad. And you could see the camera. It was a great shot. It was fixed on him after he put the ball in for Jota, and he
I was going to say celebrated the assist, didn't he? You don't see that very often. It's goal scorers celebrate, not the assist makers, but he certainly deserved it. Absolutely fantastic cross, and just underlining his quality. I suppose it was double underlined and written in capitals, wasn't it, from Trent, as to that's the quality I've got, Gareth. Keep note. Looking sort of elsewhere then at Liverpool, before we kind of wrap things up, I think a lot was thought of going into this game of what would Phillips and Kabak have against what is supposed to be a top 6 rival in terms of their attack. But I think Arsenal had something like 5 touches in the opposition's penalty area. I think on Sky Sports, Gary Neville made the comment that he and Martin Tyler could have played centre-back for Liverpool. But that said, these two seem to be growing some partnership together, and there are a few sort of clever little passes into the midfield, in particular from Ozan Kabak tonight.
Yeah, I'd have to say, Martin Tyler against Aubameyang in a foot race is something I'd like to see. Not sure. I think we all know how that would turn out, but look, they didn't have a lot to do. But I think we were talking, before we came on air, that was as much down to Liverpool's dominance as it was, Arsenal's shortcomings. But it's been Liverpool, one of Liverpool's many Achilles heels that they've had this season is the lack of consistency in centre half. Obviously, they've lost Van Dijk, arguably the best centre back in the world. That's not going to be an easy task to replace him. But with Kabak and Phillips, they've seemed to have settled on a partnership. They've got a bit of consistency. I believe that maybe 4 clean sheets in their last 4 games. Correct me if I'm wrong. Could be.
Well, I'm pretty sure. maybe in their starts, but they did play together in the Merseyside derby, didn't they? Obviously, Phillips came on for Henderson and conceded the late goal in that game that ended up 2-0. But yeah.
I mean, with the two of them together, they're going to be our Liverpool's first choice centre back partnership for the rest of the season now, and they look to have built a good partnership and some good chemistry there. So, what the future holds for either of them, their futures are both still up in the air. With obviously Kabak only on loan with a £18 million option to buy, and Nat Phillips, he's in absolute dream world, considering that he was on the verge of a move to Swansea at the start of the season, and now he's first choice for Liverpool, and he's going to be lining up against Real Madrid in a couple of days' time. So, they've both stepped up. They couldn't have done any more than has been asked of them, and they've given Liverpool a real kind of platform to push on and hopefully make something out of what's left of what has been up until this point a pretty horrible season.
Yeah, and what a time it is to maybe have that chance to step up and go forward. The first leg of the Champions League quarter-final with Real Madrid to come in midweek. And I suppose now, Kai, it's all about actually finding that consistency. Is that maybe going to be Liverpool's best 11 and Jurgen Klopp needs to get that 11 out on the pitch as often as he can? Or I suppose we've seen with Diogo Jota coming off the bench and getting 2 goals that 3-week break this squad has now had looks as though it may well have recharged the batteries just at the right time for the final push, whether that be domestically or even in the Champions League.
Yeah, it's interesting. As we say, before tonight, it did appear that kind of all Liverpool's eggs were in the Champions League basket, but it gives Klopp and this squad a really nice problem now that they've actually still got to stay in contention for the league, and they've got 8 very important. It's the cliche, but 8 cup finals, if you will, to try and make it into the top 4 for next season's Champions League. So, look, it's turned out a lot better than many of us were thinking. Liverpool had that horrible run where they lost a lot of games on the bounce, and that home form has been well documented. All the loss came to Burnley, Anfield, and then we had several defeats straight off the back of that. I didn't think anybody, maybe not even Klopp, would have thought Liverpool would be in the position where they are now, where they have a very, very good shout of making the top 4. So I think things are as good as they could be given where we were 4 or 5 weeks ago, and now Liverpool have to look ahead to a massive game against Real Madrid on Tuesday, who they don't have Sergio Ramos for either leg. Their record isn't great without them, so you'd have to say Liverpool have a decent chance of progressing there. And then having a look at Liverpool's fixtures: Aston Villa, Leeds, Newcastle, their next 3 before a clash against Manchester United. So the next 4 or 5 games are going to be season defining, and but they've got a great chance to actually achieve something from the season that looked like it may have been finished 4 or 5 weeks ago.
Yeah, definitely be interesting to see how it goes. Well, for more reaction from the Emirates, stick with us here on the Blood Red channel. Jurgen Klopp's post-match press conference will be coming. So too, Mikel Arteta's. Monday's Blood Red podcast will, of course, have even more reaction to the win at the Emirates and continue the build-up towards the Champions League quarter-final first leg game with Real Madrid. And between all of that as well, we've a special Diogo Jota interview coming for you as well on Blood Red. We seem to have timed that one well. But from myself, Guy Clarke, and Kai Delaney, thanks for your time and your company. It's bye for now.
This is the Blood Red podcast from the Liverpool Echo.